Hey, this is Wes with SND Appliances, and I just wanted to give you 5 tips to help you make your laundry last longer. First, I know that we're all busy. I know that we want to get as much laundry done in as little amount of time as possible. The worst thing that you can do for your washing machine is to overload it. This is hard on the suspension, it's hard on the motor, it's hard on everything. It will kill your machine faster than a lot of other things. So I suggest just making sure that if you've got a top load with an agitator, that you do not go over the agitator. In fact, you should be down from the agitator 2 to 3 inches. Obviously, you're not like ramming stuff in there. It needs to be loose fill, and that's not when it's wet, obviously. That's when it's dry. They're only designed for so many pounds, and if you go over that, you're gonna really jam it up. Something else I wanna talk about that doesn't get mentioned a lot is waterproof items. If you have a waterproof rain jacket, here's what it does. It can trap all of that water, or a lot of the water, and then it uses it like a big sledge almost, and it will really jack up your machine. So I don't suggest washing waterproof items at all. Just hand wash them. Hand wash them in the kitchen sink or wherever you hand wash items. I have actually seen it, and this is a real thing. What happens is it gets this machine so out of balance, and they don't stop, that the whole top kind of explodes. I know that sounds a little bit crazy, but what happens is this side steel here bends in, and the shocks shoot the tub kind of upwards. It creates house damage, it creates machine damage, you're down. It's something that is not covered under warranty because your manual tells you not to wash waterproof items. Again, with the overloading, if you like the idea of loading your machine all the way to the max, then you need a Speed Queen. It's made in America. You literally cannot break these machines. You can wash anything you want in there. You want to wash your car? Throw it in your Speed Queen. You want to wash your giant king-size comforter? Throw it in your Speed Queen. You cannot wreck them. They're unbreakable. Second thing that can cause machines to go bad that I've seen is basically too much detergent. People love using too much detergent, which, you know what, as an owner of Tide stock, I also love that. So I think that you should keep doing that for my stock price. But for your machine, I do not think that that's a good thing to do. And here's what it does. Too much detergent will start to eat rubber seals away, okay? It's gonna start eating organic material. One of the fastest ways to ruin your transmission, your rubber seals, your bearings, all of that stuff is to use a lot of detergent. Here's what you should do. If you have soft water, about 1 tablespoon. If you have hard water, 2 tablespoons, okay? And I always tell people, if you want to use more, that's fine. Start on the low side until you get the right amount, till your clothes smell the way that you want them to smell, till your clothes feel the way that you want them to feel. If they're really soiled, you might require a lot of detergent. That doesn't mean every load requires a lot of detergent. I just want to remind you that the Tide cap that says fill line or whatever, that's like a 1/4 cup, which, if I'm doing my math correctly, is 100 tablespoons of detergent. So you don't want to do that. The Tide pods, those types of things are great. You know, they say 1, 2, or 3. I would say just use 1. There's very few times where you need to use 3 Tide pods. Remember, they're selling you detergent on my behalf as a stock owner. They're selling you detergent, and they're doing a fantastic job of it. So I would just use less detergent. Number 3, neglecting routine maintenance. That's where something like this Affresh comes into play. These are little tablets that you can use. It's a lot like changing your oil. If you wait until you don't have any oil on your car, you're going to create a problem. So don't do that. I suggest using one of these Affresh tablets honestly monthly. And all you do is you put it in your tub, you run a tub clean cycle, and then it uses that. And what that Affresh tablet does is it starts breaking up some of the crud that ends up on the outer tub. Remember, the outer tub on most machines, except for Speed Queens, is going to be a plastic outer tub. On Speed Queens, it's going to be steel on enamel. You should still clean it with these Affresh tablets. That will keep your machine looking much cleaner on the inside, which will lead to much cleaner clothes. If you have a front loader, it's an absolute must. You absolutely must be using these Affresh tablets. And as you know, you should be leaving your lid open on your washing machine. If you have a top loader, it's super easy and convenient because you can't run into the lid here. If you have a front loader, you still should be leaving that open so that everything can dry out and you don't have that moisture buildup. If your house doesn't enable you to leave it open, There are some other options. You can get a fan that clips onto the back of your machine that will dry it out. LG has a magnet in the front door that will keep the door propped open so it can dry out. GE has a fan built into them so it will dry out. There are some options on front loaders. I want to show you how to clean out a drain plug on a front loader at this time. The fourth thing that I see is leveling and improper installation. Obviously your washing machine needs to be on solid flooring and it needs to be level. It's especially big for a front loader. They weigh almost 200 pounds. They have actual cement inside of them. They're very heavy. If they're not level, they're going to be shaking and it's going to cause a lot of problems. It can cause problems for the suspension. It can cause problems for wire harnesses. It can cause a lot of problems. On a top load, it's not so common for a leveling issue, but we do see a lot of overloading issues where you're hard on the springs. You definitely don't want to do that. Improper installation, if you get it at SND Appliances, is something you obviously don't have to worry about. On the dryer side though, what I do see is that people have their dryer exhaust hose and they have it's like a snake, like a wild snake. You don't want that. Every 90-degree turn reduces the maximum allowable venting by 10 feet. So if your dryer starts with 60 feet and you add 4 vents, that means you can, 4 90 degrees, that means you can only vent it 20 feet. If it's in the basement and it's got to go across the floor trussing, you might be at your max and it may not be able to get that stuff outside the way that it's supposed to be. The other thing that the snake venting can do, it will cause all of that moisture to pool in that snake. I've actually seen this, and this is crazy. People called in, they said, hey, my dryer is leaking water. It wasn't a steam dryer, so I knew that it wasn't leaking water. So what's going on? How is this thing actually having pools of water on the floor? When it was installed, not by us, we provided service on behalf of this customer. When it was installed, somebody smashed this dryer vent. And what it did was it would let some of the air by in this dryer vent, and then all of the moisture though wasn't able to go up. So it would actually pool in the bottom of that dryer vent, and then it was literally spilling onto their floor, ruining their floor, which was really an unfortunate situation caused by improper installation. Lastly, forgetting to service or change the dryer vent. This is a big one, and it's a fire hazard. It is an actual fire hazard to have lots of lint build up inside of your dryer vent. A lot of homes are built with dryers on the exterior wall. That's great. You don't have to worry about a lot there. My house specifically, I only have about a 4-foot dryer vent. It's not a big deal. It does not happen. But if you have a dryer in the basement and it has to go up an interior wall and then go across, you likely have a dryer vent in the wall, in the floor, that is at least somewhat restricted. And you do want to get that cleaned out. You do want a professional to come and clean that. Sometimes we do it, depending on what it is. Sometimes we don't, and we would refer you to somebody else. Either way, that's something that needs to be done. And obviously this goes without saying, but I'm just gonna say it just in case. Your dryer lint screen, you also need to change this. You wouldn't believe how many times, and this is crazy that I'm even saying this, how many times we've been to a service call and this lint screen is totally full. You have to change this thing. A lot of times as kids, if you have multiple users on a washing machine, on a dryer, if you're just teaching your kids how to do this stuff, remember, they're kids. They have no idea what they're doing. They may have seen you wash laundry before. That doesn't mean that they know, like you and I do, that you have to empty this dryer lint screen. And it's every cycle. So if you do 10 loads of laundry, that means you should be emptying that 10 times every single cycle. Aside from that, if you have service needs, we are happy to help, and I'm happy to guide you in the sales process too. This is Wes from SND Appliances. If you have questions, give us a call.